Hello again. We have learned in the previous lessons how to choose the sample tube material type suitable for the process fluid, how to select the tube size and wall thickness depending on the process pressure and temperature, and we learned about the importance of heat tracing. We also understood that pre-manufactured tube bundles are recommended to be used if heat tracing is required. It's time to integrate these information all together and go through the bundle product selection and ordering process. For an example, we will use the product selection guide for a company called Raychem. Before beginning, we will take a moment to understand the structure underlying tubing bundle catalog numbers. Our goal is to determine the tubing bundle catalog number for the product that best suits our needs. First, we have 3 fixed letters, which is a reference to the product family. Then we select the number of process tubes, 1 or 2. Next, the process tubing size, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch or more, also you can select the size in millimeters. Next is the process tube material, S for seamless 3/16 stainless steel, M for Monel, P for PFA, and so on. Next is the process tube wall thickness. And finally is the tracing option, electric traced heating options, steam traced heating options or pre-insulated only heating option. The product selection process involves 3 basic steps. 1. Gather the necessary information. 2. Select the tube type. 3. Select the product and elements based for your application. First, determine the application that best suits your project, and then go to the respective section that describes the information you will need to gather for that application. The applications are electric trace lines, for freeze protection and temperature maintenance. Steam trace lines, for freeze protection and temperature maintenance. Pre-insulated only, PIO, lines, for steam distribution supply lines, condensate return and personnel protection. For the electric traced lines application, the necessary information we need to gather are as the following. Required number of process tubes, 1 or 2. Required process tubing size, material, and wall thickness. Desired maintain temperature range, process operating temperature and maximum exposure temperature, for selection of the appropriate materials and heating cable. Service voltage for the heating cable. Temperature class, tier rating, for applications in hazardous locations, for heating cable selection. And finally, the jacket material. For steam traced lines application. To select the tubing bundle for steam traced lines, gather and record the following information. Required number of process tubes, 1 or 2. Required process tubing size, material, and wall thickness. Desired maintain temperature range. Steam pressure. Steam tracing tubing size, material, and wall thickness. Process operating temperature, maximum exposure temperature, and finally jacket material. For pre-insulated only lines, PIO, to select, gather and record the following information. Required number of process tubes, only 1 is available. Required process tubing size, material, and wall thickness. Process operating temperature, maximum exposure temperature, and finally jacket material. The second step after gathering the required data based on the application is to select the tube type. For this company, this table shows the available tube sizes and its wall thickness. Step 3. Select the product elements for your application. For electric traced lines. Bundles are available with Raychem brand BTV and XTV heating cables. Use BTV heating cables for maintain temperatures up to 32 degrees Celsius 90 degrees Fahrenheit. For higher maintain temperatures or exposure temperatures above 85 degrees Celsius 185 degrees Fahrenheit, use XTV heating cables. Use this to identify the cable family that meets your maximum continuous and intermittent temperatures and your available supply voltage and the T rating required. If you don't know what is the T rating, don't worry, I will explain it to you in the next slide. Temperature classifications. Explosive atmospheres all have an auto-ignition temperature at which it will ignite spontaneously when in contact with heated surfaces or when heated. Equipment must be tested and classified so that the end user may determine if the product is suitable for the intended application. This classification indicates to the end user the maximum temperature that the equipment might reach for their consideration. It is understood that equipment should not be installed in an explosive atmosphere where the surface temperature is greater than 80% of the auto-ignition temperature of the gas. Example, a piece of equipment with a T1 temperature classification may be suitable for a methane atmosphere which has an auto-ignition temperature of 580 degrees Celsius, but it is not suitable for acetylene which has an auto-ignition temperature of 425 degrees Celsius. After we select the family of the heating cable, either BTV or XTV, based on the maximum continuous and intermittent temperatures, we will specify the exact cable model number based on the expected and required maintained temperature range. Go to the column with the tube size you selected and find the heating cables that will maintain the tubing bundle at your minimum temperature requirement or higher. If you find more than one heating cable will maintain your application's temperature range, choose the cable with the lowest maximum temperature. A thermostat should be used if the maximum temperature in the table exceeds the maximum desired value. The next option is the steam tracing line. Steam trace tubing bundles are designed to use steam as a heating medium. The performance of each type of product is dictated by construction and positioning of the insulation with the finished product. Light trace steam (LTS) applications are constructed by separately insulating the tracer tubing and creating a fixed separation from the process tubes. The resulting performance characteristics allow LTS to be ideal for freeze protection of small diameter process lines such as instrument impulse lines and can maintain temperatures up to 95 degrees Celsius. Heavy traced steam (HTS) applications are constructed with intimate contact between the tracer tubing and process tubes. This construction allows for maximum transfer of heat between the tubes and is ideal for higher maintain applications such as analyzer sample transport and small diameter process lines containing product where temperature maintenance or viscosity control is necessary. This table shows the process tube maintain temperatures, minimum and maximum, for ambient range of -30 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius at different process tube sizes and trace tube size also at different pressures. Finally, the pre-insulated tube only. Pre-insulated only, PIO, tubing bundles are designed specifically for liquid and gas transport lines. These products are used where heat loss, weatherproofing, and personnel protection are important. These are an inexpensive and faster alternative to field insulation of small diameter process lines. Typical usage includes not only liquid and gas transport lines, but also steam supply lines, condensate return lines, energy conservation, weatherproofing, and personnel protection. Temperature limit is a maximum process temperature, 204 degrees Celsius 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Maximum jacket surface temperature is 60 degrees Celsius 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This table shows the different sizes of pre-insulated tube. After we completed all the data and understood how to select the tracing type and model, we can complete the order part number as we discussed before.